That's a good boy. Alright, so we're starting with the free walk because he didn't poop this morning. So remember on free walks. For me, free walks are kind of like when you just put your dog in the backyard to go potty. Except for, that's a good boy. I can reward this. No food yet? He said, I'll take it in the games, but not in this. Right. So that's a good boy. So when he comes back, we can boom, boom, boom. So there's a lot of disingenuity. Is that a word? Disingenuity in the dog training world. Mostly coming from a certain ideological stuff. The reason I bring it up is you see the guy? He's having to come back to me, right? Now on the way out here, good. Oh, you're such a good boy. On the way out here, every time we come, it's 4 or 5 times a day. On the way out here, it's unstructured. So he's getting a couple corrections. Right, so the leash is on the ground so I can go forward. He doesn't have to come back to me. He causes pressure, leash is on the ground, I can go forward. Good boy. If he comes back, if he was taking the food, I'd give it to him. Oh, I should have started with that. But instead, I'm talking about corrections and punishments, which is not inherently bad unless you're emotionally weak. If you're emotionally weak, you think punishment is just terrible and you're hurting dogs and you're ruining your relationship. A bunch of emotionally charged trash, right? Punishment slash corrections. You hear a lot of people using the word corrections nowadays because when you say punishment, everybody gets so offended, right? Punishment is not a big deal unless you're being a butthead. And if you're being a butthead with your punishment and corrections, then you were going to be a butthead anyways. So therefore, what you're doing isn't punishment and corrections. It's just you being a butthead. But anyways, point being is on the way out here, I had to correct him at least 3 or 4 times because I let him do it's like a mini sniff walk, right? So he's on his regular leash and he can do all this stuff. He just can't start pulling. If he starts jumping, he jumps all over a little bit. So I'll give him a little correction, right? Like this. You guys have seen it. There's nothing to it. Now, ideally, would I have to do that? No. Ideally, what I would do is I would do all the heel drill type actions on the way to get out here. But I look at it as during that time, that's a little time that he can sniff, he can go pee, right? Which he never does. It takes forever to pee and poo. For a young guy, that's pretty weird. But anyways, this is not a big deal, right? It's not as big a deal as they're making it out to be, and that's why people are giving up on their dogs. That's why people are getting real frustrated with their dogs because they see all this stuff. Oh, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, blah blah. And it's all emotionally charged, and it's using fear to control your actions. Your actions of what you know instinctually you should be doing, right? Every animal uses corrections and punishment. No animal uses positive only communication. Now, does that mean we should only be punishing and correcting things? No, we should be using as much positive reinforcement to teach what we want, and then it's more fair to correct and punish. Sometimes the situation dictates that you have to correct or punish sooner than is ideal. Because what is the real world? It's not ideal. Oh, that's a good boy. Right? That's positive reinforcement, right? I probably haven't done enough of it, but I try to every time. That's a good boy. Every time they come close, I try to give at least a pat, especially if they're not taking food. I could be giving them hot dogs, but I don't want to use hot dogs on this walk. I like the hot dogs for the recall and the tricks, right? So they don't pick them. Because I found that just using their food, sometimes it takes too long to get in there, right? So there's pressure. Once you release the pressure, I can now go forward. Once that leash hits the ground, then I can go forward. And he can go to whatever he wants. Oh, you're gonna wrap stuff around there? Let me show you how to get back around. Follow my body. There we go. What else was I going to talk about on this? I was going to talk about something else and I got off on that. All right. So how do you keep them from going around the tree? So I got to move my body this way. There we go. Sometimes I get farther around the tree because I don't see them do it in time. And then I'll walk back to the tree and throw the release around. But usually I try to make them go back around the tree. Just because. So they know. Such a good boy. What you talking about? Yeah, good boy. So he likes to bark at people. And it's not a mean bark. But so usually I try to, when he's looking, yeah, good boy. Just distract him pretty quick. Let's see what we get here. Another pressure. Good. Doesn't have to come back, but if he does, he gets some of this. You like some lovin's? How long is it? That's long enough to talk about punishment and corrections, right? I probably didn't even stay on topic or on track on my topic. Yeah, it's a good dog. Are you ready to work already? You gonna poop or what, dude?